I'm choking on emotion here and I need some water, but I'm going to carry on. I'm going to soldier on with this review.
And what can ultimately happen is that becomes fuel for the fire. That can actually motivate you. You're like, really? Oh, what are you going to say now? And I would rather be loved and hated than ignored, right?
I've been telling everyone here, it seems very special because, Hollywood's just controlled the narrative for so long.
The following program contains naughty bits.
I know, they're like, wow, she's really canceled. This is what cancellation looks like.
Now listen up, you varmints. One of these days, I'm going to take my rootin' tootin' ass down to Montana, get myself some cowboy boots, walk my legs akimbo, and just start shooting at all them prairie dogs that I see out there. But apart from that really god-awful accent, because I'm not trained as an actor, although I did acting in my younger days back in the UK. Of course, I still live in the UK, but I watched Terror on the Prairie today on a Sunday morning, had my breakfast, had my coffee, my French pressed coffee, by the way. The first 10 minutes of this film, I had no idea what was going to happen. Oh boy, I'm glad I just finished off my breakfast because there's a very, very gruesome scene that takes place and it kind of sets the whole tone of the movie. But I will say, for those who are wondering how I've watched this film, I went to the Daily Wire a couple of days ago. I signed up on the cheapest plan I could afford and I was able to watch this film. I'm also going to watch Matt Walsh's documentary on what it is to be a woman or what is a woman. So I may do a review of that as well. I find Matt Walsh a very fascinating character. But holy hell, man, like the Daily Wire, if you want to know why I've signed up to them, because they're making the kind of movies and entertainment that we are so lacking in mainstream Hollywood these days. You've only got to turn on the TV or look at the latest movie trailer and you know it's going to be so many levels of cringe that at some point we're going to be deluged with it and we can't climb our way out of it. So people like the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro, what they're doing, I really, really appreciate it. But let's get into this review for Terror on the Prairie. I'm not sure how I feel about the title of this film. I mean, you could have called it Die Hard on the Prairie. I mean, you think of 3:10 to Yuma, Unforgiven, The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly. You know, those titles have a certain punch to them. But I guess I can accept this for what it is because it's written by Josiah Nelson. That's already a based name. I love it. Directed by Michael Polish. And what I will say, now I've heard this, it's not a criticism. I've got one minor criticism I'm going to mention later on, but there is no music score in this film. Now, does this movie suffer as a result? No, it doesn't actually. In fact, if you watch this film and you weren't conscious that there was a music soundtrack missing, you wouldn't really notice it was meant to be there or not. I think if they did add a music score, it might have taken away what it's trying to set out to do. It's a period piece. They're replicating it as authentically as possible. In fact, I got lots of shades of not just Red Dead Redemption, which by the way, I'm playing the second game already and it is a fun but slow ride. But it also reminds me of Deadwood. Remember the HBO Western? Ian McShane and all his cussing. I love all that stuff. One thing I'll say about this film, there's no cussing at all. There's only one PG-13 swear word and that is it. I think this is probably a conscious decision by Shapiro himself that when they make these type of movies on the Daily Wire, it's going to follow a certain moral code, so to speak. Now, speaking of moral codes, Nick Searcy, you know him as Art in Justified with Timothy Olyphant. He plays the captain. He's this... He's like that Dusty Springfield song. He's a son of a preacher man, and he's gone. So I'm not doing any karaoke today, folks. But yeah, he's the son of a preacher man, and he's got a very blurred line when it comes to the word of the Lord and the, how shall we say, the vengeance he dishes out. If you think of Jules from Pulp Fiction, you're kind of reminded of that slightly. There's also a little bit of an Easter egg about Clint Eastwood's Pale Rider, which I thought was great. If you've never seen that film, if you don't watch Westerns, you're not going to understand why they mention or they make a direct reference to Pale Rider. It is really, really cool. I'll actually probably even say as well, High Plains Drifter, to throw that into the mix. How was Gina Carano in this film? I thought she was terrific. I mean, the woman is all kinds of sexy. She's got a bosom that will just fill my 2 teapots to the brim. I mean, she is a beautiful woman. She's got charisma. She's got a real presence about her. She can act. I know Gina Carano has actually said in earlier interviews that there is no way she's an actress. She was born and raised in a certain way. She's a fantastic MMA fighter. But I tell you what, man, you know, she's got a look. I mean, this picture here that I've actually frozen, I just love this. Now, the guy she's acting with, the son, the guy, I think his name is Will, the character. If it's the same actor, I think it is Gabriel Kane Day-Lewis. Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis's son is in this movie, and I think that's him when he's back to us in this picture right here. So, and he was really, really good. One thing I've got to say, he's like the only kid actor in the film, and he's not annoying. He's just very controlled. It's just a great performance I'll tell you what, Cowboy Chiron, who plays Jebediah McAllister, because Gina Carano is Hattie McAllister, his wife. He's great. Now, I don't actually know if Cowboy is his real name. Maybe that's his stage name, or maybe he did it in honor of this film, but his real name is Donald Chiron. He's a stuntman. He's an actor. He's really great. I wanted a little bit more of him in this film. I mean, he's in the film throughout anyway, but I wanted just a little bit more of him. And look, now, if you're wondering, should you subscribe to the Daily Wire to watch this film and their other content, I would say yes, you should, because again, they're following a certain path now that the mainstream media, mainstream Hollywood is choosing to ignore for what baffling reason, I have no idea. And if you do sign up internationally, you don't have to include your phone number because it will still process your payment any other normal way. So in case you're wondering, that's what it is. And like I said, I'm paying for a short time. When I can get to a stage in my life where I can afford to give the Daily Wire a yearly sum of money, I will definitely do that. But, oh man, the cinematography in this film is just beautiful. There's no CGI in this film. Everything's practically done. They even get the color of the blood right. It's a nice dark red. This film is brutal, by the way. I mean, there's like 2 things I hate in movies, like the slaughter of animals and the brutalization of women. And all I'm going to say at that stage for the former point is, rest in peace, Daisy. That's all I'm going to say. When you see the film, you'll know what I'm talking about. And boy, I'm choking on emotion here and I need some water, but I'm going to carry on. I'm going to soldier on with this review. Now, I think the most underused character is someone called Soiled Dove, played by the beautiful Samari Armstrong. I think she was cancelled by Hollywood some time ago. And I remember her as Anna Stern from the OC. I thought she was a terrific character in that. And I was going to still carry on with his voice. I'm turning into a bit of a horse now. What's going on?
Oh, you can sleep all night, wake up first thing in the morning. Of course, you can do other things, too.
My wife.
Your wife.
But I'll tell you what, Nick Searcy is the captain. He's just complete. You don't know whether you should trust this guy or not. And to a certain degree, like, he and his band of merry ex-Confederate men, they've got a certain sense of honor about who they kill and who they don't kill. And the one thing I was wondering about this film is, okay, we've got Gina Carano, big, strong, beautiful woman. She's capable of handling herself, but she's not like you see most entertainment today, where she has no agency. She comes out, she's the boss, she calls the shots, but she can't land the shot on the guys who are terrorizing her on this beautiful Montana prairie.
She can't shoot for jack shit.
And I like that. And I sat there thinking to myself, so who is Hattie McAllister? What is her background? And by Jove, we get it, Jeeves. We do get it much later on in the film. There's actually a bit where Hattie McAllister is talking about how she was looking for wounded soldiers. So you know she's a nurse. She's got that training. I like it. We do see Native American Indians. They're dressed properly. They don't go around going, and they're not savages. And there's actually a really beautiful exchange between Hattie and the Native American Indians at one point in the film. I wish we could have seen more of them, but the way the story is written, you couldn't really fit them in any further. And I like the way that scene built up. Is really, really good. And yeah, I mean, like, I would say 75% of this film is set on the prairie. Then you get other locations. You do get that feel, that rock star feel of Red Dead Redemption, about the buying and trading of goods. You understand how those video game makers went and researched all of that, and you do get a sense of that here. I also like the fact that if you come from a different part of America, that people ask, where are you from, and, you know, who do you know there, and you definitely get a sense of that in this production. This was a small scale production. Would they release this on the cinema? Of course they wouldn't, because there'd be so much bad press coming out for this film and for its leading actress. Yeah, I'm saying actress, not actor, because I don't give a shit about that. And I'm pretty sure Gina won't either, because that's what she is. And I thought she was terrific. There's a part in it where she's holding a small firearm, and I think it's a peacemaker. And if it is, it was just like the way she's practically handling that. She must have had some really good hands-on weapons training. By the way, Daily Wire, that's one thing you should be doing as well, giving us a behind-the-scenes making of for this movie. Like, what was the firearms training like? What was the day-to-day rural life like for a Montana homesteader, a woman like Hattie McDaniel? No, it's Hattie, I'm thinking of The Equalizer, Hattie McAllister. But you know what? If you go into this film thinking there's going to be a certain outcome, you know, don't worry about things too much. If you know what the Daily Wire are aligning to, what they want people to be entertained by. And speaking of being entertained by, I can't wait to watch Shut In. That was released last year, and I need to watch that film. But honestly, I can't wait to see what Gina Carano's next project is going to be. I think it's to do with Joe Biden's son. It's like a comedy set in Serbia, but it's to do with the Cold War and America and Russia. I think it's something like that, and she plays like a badass CIA woman, so I'm really looking forward to that. But congrats to the Daily Wire. Congrats to Gina Carano, Nick Searcy, Cowboy Chiron, all the other actors involved, Gabriel Kane Day-Lewis, Samari Armstrong, gonna mention her as well. Wow, she still looks good, I gotta tell you, man. But this film, I wish it could have been at the premiere in America, but you know, I'm just a nobody. Who am I? You know, I'm making this video. I'm interspersing parts of the Quarterings interview with Gina as well, which was a really hilarious interview to watch, and some B-roll footage from the premiere as well that took place this week. So folks, I promised you I was going to deliver the goods on this film, Terror on the Prairie. I'm getting used to that title already. It is fine. The action is brutal and bloody in some cases. If you remember Inglourious Bastards by Quentin Tarantino, you're going to get a flashback of that. The third act is very, very satisfying. There's no roll your eye moments. The film is not woke at all. Like all of Daily Wire's output is nothing to do with the woke agenda. They definitely removed themselves so far from that. It's great to know. So and you know what? I never found this film boring. It never dragged in places. I'd sat there with an open mind, not knowing what to expect. And I tell you what, I was thoroughly satisfied. I know the Western genre is a dying genre now. I know other countries like Japan and especially Japan and Korea do make their own Westerns, but it's refreshing to see an American Western that is very patriotic to his country, and it just has the moral values that people are not seeing in your superhero films these days. And who cares about superhero films? I want to go back to watching basic entertainment I grew up with back in my day. And you know, if my dad was around today, I'm sure he would appreciate this Western as well. So folks, if you enjoyed this Rootin' Tootin' Cowboy review today for Terror on the Prairie, make sure you hit the like button below, because the more you like this video, the more YouTube will know this, and the more they will push this channel out. And if I were you, and if you were me, you better check out the next video.
Let you know when it does, and I really appreciate your time.
I really appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for your support, your love. I see you, and I'm super happy to be sitting in this chair. I would not trade it for anything. So it's hard work, but it's just the beginning of the hard work, and I think we're going to open up a lot of doors for a lot of people who are getting kind of shoved to the side.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.